Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it. We test it. You play it. Now, before we get into the official show, I have to do some thank yous, some acknowledgements, and some notices. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Mr. Ben Yahtzee Croshaw. I discovered his work when I was in college, and after learning about his humble origins here on YouTube before he had a career, I was inspired. It was like, you know what? If he can do it, I want to give it a shot also. So Yahtzee, if you were watching this, thank you very much for inspiring me to give this a try. And I gotta admit, it is not as easy as it looks. As I said a couple of times, I'm not sponsored, and of course one of the hardest things is trying to make sure to keep to a consistent weekly schedule. Something which I horribly failed at for like about a month, for almost 2 months this year. So yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. So thank you very much. You have a new level of respect and appreciation for you. Speaking of respect and appreciation, I'd also like to thank all of my subscribers. It's great to know that there are literally millions upon millions of YouTube videos uploaded every day, and I'm grateful that you decided to see my work and you're like, hey, I think I'll follow this channel. I'll watch the stuff, and it just means a lot to me knowing that there are people out there that like watching my content. So I thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. And finally, I'd like to thank the people who are unsubscribed. If you just found this video by recommendation, word of mouth, or if you were just clicking through and you discovered it on your own, I appreciate it. Like I said, millions of videos on YouTube, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to click either on this one or one of my previous other works. It means a lot, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, if you're not a subscriber, I have one small favor to ask. I don't do this too often, so I'm just wondering if you could please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and if you subscribe, I would appreciate that. And finally, if you have a comment that is relevant to this particular YouTube video, or if you have a comment that's relevant to another previous YouTube video, please drop it in. Let me know. It'd be great to hear from you. So, yeah, thank you to Yahtzee, thank you to my subscribers, and thank you to the non-subscribers. Hopefully you'll join. In any case, I thank you all for watching. It's really great. I've been doing this show for this channel, and this show has been operating for a long time, and it's great to know that we get to continue to try and do new and different things, see what works and what doesn't work, make some changes. And that's pretty cool because these last few years, I got my official gaming PC, I did my first Steam review, which led to a whole new show, and then that started to include video clips, music clips, and this year I actually had the foresight slash hindsight to actually save all of the footage from previous reviews. So this review is going to be, this end of the year review is going to be a slightly bit different than normal. So I'm just glad I get a chance to try new things, and I look forward to next year because we're going to try even more new things. So we'll see what works out. And now I officially say welcome to Aperture Gaming's 5th annual end of the year award show. For those of you who are if this is your first time watching, here's how this works. Before we go into the new year, we have to look back at the old year, see what worked, what didn't work, the good, the bad, and everything in between. But for my channel, we start with the worst and work our way up to the first. So, the question is, what is the bottom of the barrel? What are the dregs? What are the parts of the year that we'd prefer not to remember? Well, let's get into the review, and let's get into the award show, shall we? Worst game. Dave's Fun Algebra Class Remastered. Okay, I don't think that this is actually a remaster, because, like, I get it's trying to do the look and feel of a game from, like, the 90s, but that's the thing. The textures, I think this game was painful for the eyes because of the textures and painful on the ears because of the looping soundtrack. Now, there's various levels of creepy that I can and cannot deal with, and it kind of has this weird creepy factor. I think it was intentional. And honestly, at one point, when I was trying to play the game, I thought the game was busted. So yeah, I have to say that this is definitely the worst game of the year, in my opinion. And, well, it's free, so I got what I paid for. Worst Studio. Ubisoft. I think I heard that the video game industry suffered a little bit this year, with AI being a factor. And while a lot of studios, unfortunately, made mistakes, ranging from Sony laying off 900 employees in February, shutting down the rewards program, and then there was the price for the PS5, and then, of course, there was IGN fudging the Game of the Year election votes. Unfortunately, I'd say that the worst studio award goes to Ubisoft. They made some questionable choices this year, including, but not limited to, in January of this year, someone said, quote, "We want people to get used to not owning what they've bought," end quote. This problem, along with this highlights the problem with digital services and problems with archiving previous and or older games, and the importance of physical games still. And then there was June 25th, where they released the 20th anniversary of Beyond Good and Evil, and we're still waiting for the sequel. And the Assassin's Creed game and Star Wars game. Now, here's what I've heard, that for the Star Wars game, to get 100% completion, you would actually have to shell out for all the DLCs, and so basically the Mega Edition. Both those games, if you want to get the Mega Edition of each one, is like $120+ USD. So that's basically buying 2 games. You get 1 game for the price of 2. Oh, and then also, after Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, here's what. Apparently, a lot of people love the game, and it's had some DLCs that people I think are enjoying. So of course, since it was doing good, Ubisoft disbanded that team that worked on that. So yeah, Ubisoft definitely trust issues. NCSoft. Many years ago, NCSoft released the game City of Heroes. This was my first ever MMORPG I ever played, and I loved it. Me, along with many others, were very sad when they decided to shut down the game, even though we tried to prevent that. After the game was shut down, some of NCSoft's questionable actions over other video games came into light afterwards. So then, a few years ago, some people had gotten the City of Heroes information and were actually hosting private servers. And I was like, okay, I want to play City of Heroes, but I'm a little worried about, NCSoft legal repercussions. But then this year, NCSoft said that they gave them the thumbs up, the green light, and the go ahead that they can continue hosting the City of Heroes on their private server. So I was like, okay, I want to play City of Heroes, but I need to do some research because I'm still a little hesitant. NCSoft is going to have to do a lot more to win me back into their good graces because of this. So yeah, NCSoft definitely wins the Trust Issues Award, which honestly, I'm kind of surprised I get to use this category again. I made it last year to complain about Microids and their poor handling of the release/repairs of Black Sad Under the Skin. So yeah, the main focus is City of Heroes, and with NCSoft winning the award for Trust Issues. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed seeing the failures of this year. I hope you enjoyed watching the videos of my illustrations. Who knows, there might be some more later on. Stay tuned. So yeah, we've dragged our way through the worst, and now we work our way up to the first. What games made the top cut? What made the top honors? Well, let's get into that right now. Maestro, a little traveling music, if you please. The New Kid on the Block. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This came out very late in the year, practically the end of the year, but this is a very good game. I love the voice work, it does sound like Harrison Ford, and like I said, the last Indiana Jones game was over a decade ago. So it does, like I said, it's a standalone game, and it's just very fun. I definitely think this is worthy of the New Kid on the Block title. It's nice to see how Bethesda is branching out a bit and doing some other projects, so I really liked it.
Series.
The Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Now, Prince of Persia came out with 2 games this year, but I'm going to lean more towards The Lost Crown. But yeah, the fact that Ubisoft released 2 Prince of Persia games in the same year, so that one and the Rogue Prince of Persia, but yeah, I'm leaning towards the former. Because, like I said, they then released some DLC that was deemed really great, but then unfortunately disbanded. But yeah, I think that definitely deserves the series/sequel of the year. Single player. Dungeons of Hinterberg. Yeah, this one kind of surprised me coming out of left field. It's an RPG, and it's like weird. It's like you're in the real world, but there's this one area in the city of Hinterberg, which has now been access to magic, where you swing swords and fight mythological creatures and have magical abilities. So yeah, it'd be like, hey, what would happen if magic was real in the real world? It'd be a great place to have a vacation and to live out your RPG medieval fantasy kind of scenario. So I kind of like it. It was a interesting take on a story/genre, and with an interesting look. And also I liked how you did the daily time manager thing. I think I mentioned some kind of Harvest Moon effect, or there was some effect where it's like, since you have to decide whether you go adventure or you hang out with people or you rest, and that ups and affects your stats. So I really liked that. So yeah, Dungeons of Hinterberg for best single player game.
Multiplayer.
Sea of Thieves. Yes, I'm aware that Sea of Thieves originally came out in 2018, but it actually then came out this year for the PS5. So technically it still does count for a release for this year. I am enjoying Sea of Thieves. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I like the pirate motif. I like the costumes, the ships, the islands, the events. I just really like it, and I enjoy, the whole multiplayer interaction sort of thing. And it's a really fun game, and I'm really glad. It definitely earns, in my opinion, the best multiplayer for the year. Best free-to-play game. Zenless Zone Zero. And when I was started to play this game, one of my friends mentioned how it's somewhat like a Persona game. And it was cool because I started playing the game, and then a few months later I went to a convention and someone was in a costume from the game. So even though the game has been out on the PS5 for only a few months, it's nice to know that it was starting to get enough of a fan base to get noticed. Yeah, so I like it. I mean, so it's weird. It is a free to play, but it is enjoyable. It does offer an interesting 3-player team switch system for combat. So yeah, I think out of all the free-to-play titles I played this year, this one definitely has earned for best free-to-play.
Plot.
Mullet Mad Jack. Yeah, there's a lot of games that have the whole rescue the princess from blah blah blah, and I did comment about that for one of the games I reviewed recently. But I liked Mullet Mad Jack because I like the idea how we have the princess of the internet, and the whole idea that we need to constantly feed on social media for the dopamine effect. Yeah, like I said, it's like the movie Crank, in a sense. So yeah, it's a unique new take on a similar story. But I definitely liked how it's definitely the whole meta humor sort of thing, kind of citing how, oh yeah, we need the internet, we need to have a princess of the internet, and we constantly need to be on the internet / social media for the dopamine effect. So I like that.
Graphics.
Harold Halibut. I'm not gonna lie, I love stop motion, and I love the fact that even today it is still relevant. So the fact that they have made an entire video game with stop motion elements, it is great. I give major kudos to the team for working on this, because I know this probably took a lot of time and effort, and there's some things that you can and can't do with the stop motion, and the fact that they have to make the characters, the environments, the props, the items, it is just great. I definitely, so I am a little biased, but it is stop motion, so it has earned credit. Give credit where credit is due.
Audio.
Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League. Audio is a very important thing for games. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, but audio is one of them. And for me, I have to give credit to this game because this is one of the last times we get to hear a performance by the late, great Kevin Conroy. There are other great factors involved with other people doing the voice acting work. The sounds of the combat around the city, the radio transmissions. The Kevin Conroy thing, that was one of the major selling factors. We miss you, sir. Thank you for all you've done. Welcome back. Now, I hope you are enjoying the show so far, because we're keeping it rolling along, because we're about to start into our next segment, the rewards category. Now, originally, the rewards, it was supposed to just be about all the remasters, the remakes, the reboots, etc., etc. And then I was like, wait a minute, there's a couple of other re-words that could apply to some of these titles. So, it's some good, some bad, and some in between. So it's interesting to see. It was an interesting year for the rewards category. So, what made the cut? Well, on with the show, shall we? Refake and/or re-break. Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary. As I previously mentioned at the start of the video, Ubisoft released this year the 20th anniversary of that game. So yeah, like a handful of years ago, I actually saw something about the sequel, and I was like, you know what, I'll pick up. So I went home, I went online, and I found like a cheap copy of the original game. I bought it, I played it, and I thought it was a very enjoyable title. But the fact that this game, okay, this is the ultimate insult. Oh yeah, rather than actually, work on the game that we've been promising for all these years, we're just going to re-release the 20th anniversary of the first game. 20 years, and not so much as... Yeah, it's been several years since, like, even the last announcement, so it's like, come on. Regret. Open roads. Yeah, when I bought this product, I thought it was going to be more interactive, like, kind of a mystery solving. But like I said, this is more like a novel, visual novel of sorts. You can interact with a few things, but here's what. In the review, I openly and honestly say that I can't believe I actually bought this. So yeah, it's like heavy on story, light on gameplay, and like I said, this probably would have been better as a movie or a one, possibly 2-season TV series. But yeah, for open roads, I definitely regret buying this game. Remake. Okay, so I'm trying not to do too many of these since it was kind of a thing for me last year, but the best remake goes to Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion 2. Both of these titles came to the Nintendo Switch, and I love the Paper Mario franchise, and I do love the Luigi's Mansion franchise. So it's nice to see that these two got the retreatment for the Nintendo Switch. Kudos to them. Reboot. Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, a couple years ago, the first game was released, and they announced, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to be releasing this game over multiple discs. So it's like, okay, we're at the point now where that shouldn't be a factor. I'm like, this is some kind of weird homage to its predecessor. And then we got Rebirth. Now, here's the interesting thing. I found out when I was looking online to see about this game, it says how events in the game were in a different order than what it was in the original game. So since this is a different retelling of the franchise, that's why it's officially under the category of reboot. Not just a remake, not a remaster, not a remake, but a reboot. So it'll be interesting to see. I have some theories about what's going to happen with the third disc, and I'm hoping that, like I've said, I'm hoping that when the third disc comes out, it'll include a special DLC which might alter how certain things happen in the third part of the game. Re-release. The Saboteur. Or The Saboteur. Now, this game, it was not made by Ubisoft, but it could very much be the Assassin's Creed World War II game. Now, we did get a partial World War II game in London from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. But yeah, so I really did like this because the location and history, I really did enjoy the game. It was old, but it was very enjoyable, and it was re-released this year, and I had a fun time playing it. Now, I'd also like to point out, as a possible, going back to the multiplayer game, Sea of Thieves. That gets an honorable mention for this category, but like I said, the Saboteur is the winner for the re-release award. Repackaged. The Ace Attorney series. I liked the Ace Attorney series. I got a couple of them for the DS when it first came out, and then I was happy when they started getting package groups. So we got the Apollo Justice franchise, and we got the Miles Edgeworth investigations. So yeah, we got two of the repackaged released this year. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Ace Attorney series, and I'm glad to see it's available on multiple different platforms, and we got all of them together now. At one point, I was missing a couple of the games, and I tried to get them from Etsy. I got them, but then I got a notice that they had to be returned, so I did. But I never got them back, so it's just nice to know that there's always more than one way to enjoy the Ace Attorney franchise. It's a good mix between story, puzzle investigations, and the whole courtroom thing, and everyone getting to yell objection. And I have no objections to this franchise. Refreshing. Ereban Shadow Legacy. I really liked how. Here's what. I know there's stealth mechanics in games and there's the whole hiding in shadows, but the whole actually becoming a shadow and melting into the shadows effect, I thought that was really cool. I really liked how this game presented that new fact for me. And I like how, since you rely heavily on stealth, you can't do direct combat, and so it was an interesting title. But like I said, the main thing that I really liked was the ability of, the whole shadow thing, being able to disappear into walls, and the shadow and other powers you can unlock as the game progressed. Rejoice! The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. While this is not, in my opinion, the game of the year, it was a very fun game to play. It was also nice to hear where in the Zelda timeline this game took place. As I had mentioned, I didn't know where it did, but now that's been made official by Nintendo. It's great because first time in almost 40 years, Zelda is now the main character, so it took a while, but finally got there. And I just thought the game was very entertaining. I enjoyed it, I enjoyed playing it, and it's nice to see how they didn't just use the Link's Awakening remake as a animation style as a one-off concept. Replay. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky came out about roughly 8 years ago, and I've been playing it on and off ever since. It had a very rough start, but Hello Games, they actually put in the time and effort. They gave us a bunch of free content, and they keep giving us updates with new ships, new locations, new, so much new at you. And the expeditions and everything, the cross-play, the cross-saving features. For me, is what? A little while ago, earlier this year, one of my friends and me were playing online. We were doing a game, and I thought, this has some familiarity to it, so I suggested, hey, how about you try No Man's Sky? So they're like, oh, great, does it have this, that, and the other thing? They were worried about certain things, but I was able to talk them into it. They gave it a try, and they liked it. We spent some time together, we got them some bases built, a ship that they wanted, and we got to fight off pirates and explore the galaxy. So yeah, it was nice getting a chance to revisit this old title, and this time, not just by myself, but getting to enjoy with a friend. Hello again. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you stuck with it this long, thank you very much. We're almost at the end. We just have a few more categories to go. One where we acknowledge the past, and one where we acknowledge the future. So, thank you for sticking around. And now, more awards! Last time on Aperture Gaming. Void Train. Now, there are two games that I played this year. I played and or released my review for them about on the 1 year mark of when they came out. One being Void Train and the other one being Crime Boss, or Rockay City, Rockay Beach. So while Crime Boss was interesting in concept and had a very famous voice cast, I really did like Void Train. It was unique and it reminded me of so many different elements, the train factors, Gravity Falls, and I just really enjoyed Void Train. And since both of those were a year apart, this one definitely was on my radar for this award. Great Expectations, the Charles Dickens Award for upcoming titles. While this video has been dedicated to talking about games from this year and a few previous years, this award is dedicated to games that I'm looking forward to. Now, this is an incomplete list because I'm pretty sure I may have forgotten a title, or there's some stuff that hasn't been announced yet that will get my attention and that I'm excited for. But the following games have my attention and I'm looking forward to seeing them and or playing them in the upcoming year. A game about digging a hole. Agent 64, Spies Never Die. Amerizone, The Explorer's Legacy. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yes, I am aware of this, and like I said, I was giving Ubisoft some problems, but you know what? I still am a fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise, so it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Battle Train, Blueprints, Carmen Sandiego, Chroma Gun 2, Die Hard, Corsairs, Battle of the Caribbean, Dispatch, Double Dragon Revive, EXE Killer, Ghosts of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6, Ground of Aces, Hirogami, Kill the Music, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, Mafia, The Old Country, Marvel 1943, The Rise of Hydra, Mecha Break, Mixtape, Monster Hunter Wild, Mouse P.I. for Hire, Orcs Must Die, Death Trap, Showa American Story, The Outer Worlds 2, The Talos Principle Reawakened, Unbeatable, and War Mechanic. Welcome back. If you've made it this far, congratulations. The home stretch is in sight, people. We're near the end because we are entering the category section of
The Big Three.
That's right. And like I said, next year we'll be adding in some new, a few new features to this award show, so that'll be cool. But for right now, we're looking at the Big Three. These are the things that define the game industry the most, the people that make them, the game itself, and if the game is good but it has a little extra something added, DLC, that's just gravy. So, who are the Big Three of this year? Well, let's find out together, shall we?
DLC.
Pacific Drive. Okay, I'm kind of bending the rules in this category. Here's what. Pacific Drive released multiple DLC throughout this year, and here's what. Some of the DLC was audio and some of the DLC was cosmetic. Here's how it worked. There's DLC for the music in the game. You can get that for free based on Steam platform, or you could buy it through iTunes. Now on iTunes you can buy it there, and then there's the official licensed soundtracks on there, which I did buy because interesting soundtrack. So there was that, but then the rest was like cosmetics for your car, and then we got eventually cosmetics for your garage. So yeah, I know I was supposed to, so yeah, instead of just one specific DLC, the DLC of the year, like I said, I'm bending the rules, it goes to all the DLC that was released by Pacific Drive for this year.
Team.
LifeTap Studios for creating the Brew Barons. Now, there were two studios that I was very impressed with this year. LifeTap Studios, because here's what, they made the Brew Barons, and they are officially getting the award for Best Studio this year. Now, the other studio that I was impressed by was Slow Bros. Here's what, both teams were very small, and Slow Bros actually made a stop-motion game. But the difference is that the Brew Barons was made by 2 game developers and 1 composer, so only 3 people. Very small studio. And I actually remember seeing their Kickstarter advertisement a while ago, but yeah. So they are definitely the winners of Studio of the Year. Game of the Year. Pacific Drive. When I started playing this game, I thought it was unique, it was different, great visuals, great sound, and over the course of the year, they have consistently released a whole bunch of different kinds of DLC. We've gotten cosmetic stuff, we've gotten the pay-for soundtrack, we've gotten the free soundtrack. So yeah, but when I first started playing this, I was having fun, it was different. I haven't played anything like this before, and I was like, this is it. This is the game of the year. I gave other games a chance, and while I did find several of those entertaining, I really think Pacific Drive, it holds its own. It hits a whole bunch of the right notes. Great visual, great story, plot, characters, audio, visual, DLC. It is just super fun. I genuinely enjoy Pacific Drive, and that is why I feel it deserves to be the game of the year. Well, there you have it, everybody. That is the year 2024 in the world of video games in a nutshell. It was a heck of a wild ride, and I am just so excited that we get to try some new stuff in this upcoming next year. I hope you enjoyed this show. This was a labor of love. Took a long time to make, and I appreciate you watching it. Until next time, this has been Test Subject 1337 for Aperture Gaming. I'm glad we got to cover all of this for the 2024 End of the Year Award Show. I look forward to seeing you all next year. Until next time, thank you for watching, game on, and have a nice day. See you next year!